Okay, good evening. Welcome to the April 27th, 2026 Almont Community Schools Board of Education meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Burrow, will you do roll call, please?
Ms. Inkley?
Here.
Mr. Lee is absent. Ms. Rotarius?
Here.
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mr. Burrow is here. And Mr. Eckert?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
We have 6 members present.
Thank you, Mr. Burrows. Adoption of the agenda. Any additions, Mrs. Von Heltmeyer?
No additions.
Deletion?
We do have a deletion under communications. Our student council representative is not here today to report.
Any amendments?
We have just one added, there's one added objective to the strategic plan, just to bring that to the board's attention, and that is all.
Thank you. On the communication.
First up, we have rate of recognition with our Almont High School. Mr. Benison is automation and robotics team here, from the students.
Is that working? All right, that's working. All right, I get the privilege of being here tonight to talk to you guys a little bit about a class that I'm very passionate about, very excited about. It's 8th grade automation robotics. It's a class that we've had probably for the past 10, 12 years, somewhere thereabouts. Ms. Vaughn played a huge role in developing this class when we were at the middle school. I think we probably, with help from L&L Products, we probably have $60,000-$70,000 worth of equipment, and that's not counting computers and all that. That was pretty much donated through L&L grants and things like that. So Mr. Spears has been great with supporting the class over the last couple of years, but it's a class that to me, as an 8th grade teacher, for me, it's like the crown jewel of what we do, particularly from a STEM standpoint. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what the class is about, and then I'm going to have some students come out and demonstrate. I probably should have passed around some waivers in case you guys get injured. There could be some things flying around there, but in all honesty, the kids have worked really hard. As with anything that's engineer related, everything is a work in progress. So, their projects aren't going to be necessarily perfect yet, but we're kind of in the middle of things right now. So they're working on perfecting them. So, all right. As far as what is PLTW, it's a hands-on class where students explore how machines work, how systems are designed, how automation impacts our daily lives. Students don't just learn about technology, they build, program, test, and improve it. Big part of the engineer design process that we stress is that revision side of things. They create prototypes, they revise their prototypes until they're happy with where they're at. So what they do, and the kids are going to probably tell you more than I am, but they design and build robots using the Vex Robotics platform. We have 2 different platforms that we use. We have, right now they're in the older version. They're about ready to level up to the next version, but we do that older version because they have to actually dig into the programming and the root code that goes along with it. The next version up, they start to just use the block text and things like that. So I feel from a programming standpoint, actually typing in those commands and those variables and those behaviors is really important for them to understand. So they program systems using coding and logic, create real-world solutions like chairlifts, windmills, robotic arms, and many other things. And then they test and improve their designs through the engineering problem solving. They learn by doing, not by listening. My role in this class, and it's the first class in my career that I've done this with, I'm a facilitator. That's all I am. I kind of lay the frameworks, the groundwork for them, and they just run with it. The things that they do, the creativity that they display innovation. It boggles my brain. It blows me away every single time I do the class. And you'll see some of the things that they've done. So, builds critical and transferable skills. So problem solving, critical thinking. A couple of the students that are up there right now, we were just doing some last minute problem solving and critical thinking to get things going, and we got it figured out, and it was mostly them. So collaboration and teamwork, the kids work together in the class. It's normally, and we're fortunate because we have access to the funding that we do. Most schools will have groups of 3 or 4 working on a project. We're able to have pairs because we have the materials, which is phenomenal. You don't oftentimes have access to the amount of materials that we have to complete the projects that we get to complete. Computer programming, engineer design. Big part of this, and they're going to talk to you guys about this, is starting off with understanding of the mechanical systems, because within every robot there are mechanical gear mechanisms and everything else that's in there that they have to understand, and they have to be able to take those gear mechanisms and apply them to their automated projects. So, and again, these are skills that employers are asking for. Fridays, we get Fridays are kind of neat because we also added CAD to this class. We use Autodesk Inventor. The students go through a series of projects throughout the class to develop skills that are CAD-based, which is, I don't know how many of you have used AutoCAD before, but AutoCAD is it's a tricky thing to learn. It's a really, really difficult thing to learn, and they have to apply a lot of logic and kind of really start to think a couple steps ahead to get their projects completed. So it's kind of a neat thing to watch. It strengthens their ability to think like engineers, both physically and digitally. And then once they develop their skills throughout the semester, they actually get to design a product of their own that we 3D print, which is pretty neat too. We have access to 7 3D printers. Again, funding through L&L and the like, and it's a great project for them to get to do. They get to start with an idea, create a 2D sketch, make it 3-dimensional, and they actually get to bring home something tangible that they designed on their own. So it's kind of neat. Why this matters to our district. And this is something, again, I'm pretty passionate about. It engages students who thrive of hands-on learning. They have one paper thing that they get the whole semester, and that is a rubric that they complete with a presentation to do way back or way in the beginning of the semester. Everything else is building hands-on stuff. Okay, some kids enter the class, they've never used a wrench before. Some kids, they don't know what shaft collars are, or screws, or nuts, or bolts, or any of that stuff. So every single kid in there is exposed to new things that they haven't done before. It prepares students for high-demand STEM careers, builds confidence through real-world problem solving, and that is a true statement. It does build confidence because there are kids, like I said, they have zero confidence when they start the class. By the time they're done, they've achieved things that they never thought they could achieve. So it's pretty neat. And then, of course, it aligns with the state and national STEM standards. All right, with that, I'm going to throw this to my students. They're going to talk to you guys a little bit. They're going to talk you through some of their robots that they did and introduce themselves, and we'll go from there. Go ahead there, guys.
Basically started off the year with so originally we did a presentation about a real world robot that's in use. And we originally, we had like maybe a slide presentation about it and presented to the class. And so basically why we did that is because we kind of got to know what the robots do, why they are used, how they help the world, and kind of why they're beneficial.
And an example of that is the LS3 DARPA. The LS3 DARPA, what it does is
It carries equipment during military times, and it can carry up to 400 pounds. It's used for carrying equipment, people, and just general supplies like weapons.
So kind of from that to designing our own mechanical things, but we didn't really start off with like the power thing. We had to do things. We used gear mechanisms, and some of those are like, I don't know if you've ever seen on 3D printer, they have like, it's kind of, it looks like a screw, but it uses, I don't know what it's called, but it's like, goes on it, and it, as it goes up, it pulls it up, and it's a lead screw, but I don't really how to explain the, but it's really cool because it allows for vertical motion within the thing, and then you can also use like a chain drive to it can connect two gears that are like any distance apart, and it's kind of like what you would see on like a military tank, how they have the tread between the two gears.
Other gear mechanisms we did were this one called the crank and slider, which basically you have a wheel, you have a slider, and you have a long metal rod, and you just crank it.
So then what we took from the gear mechanisms, we put that into real world example with a windmill, but we couldn't just make a windmill, we had to make it go as fast as we could. We did that by using different gear ratios. And what we had two different gear mechanisms, and one of them that we used was just basic simple gear, which is just like the normal gears that you would do with the key, and it spins, and we had to use a really big one, like a really small one. And then we connected that to a chain drive, which also made it go as fast as it could. And then Tom will tell you about why your ratios matter.
Why ratios matter? The ratios matter because if you can mess up like even a fraction of it, then your entire project is ruined. It may go too slow, it may go too fast. Like if you even mess up a tiny bit, it's over.
And to kind of build off of that, if you want something to go really fast, and you take a big gear, every time it turns once, and there's like a smaller gear, it's in the chart, we have like 1:6 ratio. And what that does is, once you turn the big one once, the little one spins 6 times. So if you connect that to like a windmill, it's gonna make the windmill way faster for one crank. But when you reverse it, you have to crank the little one 6 times to make the big one go once round. So that's how you can make it go slow.
And one of the challenges that we got to do was this thing called Survival Challenge, and it was basically a series of tasks where you had to do things that would directly save humanity. Like you had to make one mechanism, which is what we got to do, which was just one crank, you had to grind grain, pull water, and chop wood. Another one was, I believe, a satellite fish that could travel, and things for picking up supplies. And for ours, we had to use 3 different mechanisms to complete all the tasks.
Use a crank slider in order to dip down a bucket into water to collect water. And then we use simple gears going to 2 different mechanisms. One would grind the grain and the other would chop the wood.
And another thing we got to do with that was, this kind of plays along with it, but CAD, you just get to basically design, it also goes along with tasks. And for one, I think we had to make a bracket, you got to make a hairbrush, and all we would get were these measurements, or like how big it had to be, or like for the hairbrush, it has to look like gender, so it can't be like, yeah. And when we got to make those, it was just basically whatever you want. Like you can make a square brush, you got to make a light switch, and the light switch would be whatever shape, it could have themes behind it, and it's just basically you just get the baseline for it, and you can basically do whatever you want with it.
Some examples of stuff you can make with CAD, like you mentioned, we did a 3 project that we had to make with CAD, but there's also some other real-world examples that you can make with CAD, such as maybe if your door handle on a door breaks, then you can 3D print a new handle and then screw it in the door and have that work. You can also 3D print stuff to sell online. for the money?
Before we move on to our projects, we also did, before we got to work with the motor vortexes, we had to build a basic dragster, which originally we had to make it go forward for 2 seconds, stop, and go back for 2 seconds. Then we had to make it do a 0-point turn, and I don't know if any of you have like a 0-point mower where you have to like use the different handles and it goes, turns all the way around without having to like drive anywhere. That's what we had to do with it, and we had to make it go back and forth like that too. And I think their project will showcase that, but, we're gonna start with our project, which was, grandma's chair. And I don't know if you've ever seen the ones that go like up the stairs and down, but they're, I don't know if all of them have it, I think they do, but they have like the control panel on it. But basically, this uses light sensors to know when to stop, so it doesn't just go destroy something. But with the button, you have to make so that if it stops midway, it can set itself and then go all the way back up. And so when it goes, it goes all the way, and you use the light to sense when to stop, and that should work pretty good. Say her cat ran up ahead of her and jumped in front of the sensor, she hits a button and go back to the box, and you set it to her. Kind of elaborate on some of the parts. This is like a button, which you have to like add a code where it's until touch, which means it waits until you press the button to start it. And then there's also the motor, which is connected to a motor control, which, so if the motor or something happens with the cortex or the motor, if it like shorts out or something, this stops it from ruining the cortex completely. These are pretty expensive. And obviously you have the battery. And then you also have the light sensors. They're technically line followers, but they sense like a certain amount of light, and we had to set it to a certain amount that it would work in the classroom and in here. And this is kind of what we drew. It's like it's got a little part that allows it to set the leads spin and carries it upward.
Good.
We use 4 motors and we have a button. And we have 2 motors for these back wheels here. And then we have a motor for the claw, as you can see. And then we also have a motor on the side for this part here. And we did run into some difficulty getting it to turn correctly. Once your battery eventually gets to a certain point, it will just not, well, the entire thing works. So we ran into that with a couple of issues. But as you can see, it worked pretty well. So we got those all fixed.
You're good. One other thing to note with that is they don't get step-by-step directions. This is they designed those. This was not, they don't look at, I mean, they have some criteria they have to hit, but that's their build. They do that all on their own. So you look at something like that and it doesn't look like it's that complex, but when you dig into it, it's a lengthy process, and like I said, the kids all the time, they create and they innovate and they come up with, awesome solutions to problems. So again, there's no picture, there's no list of instructions. Those are their creations all by themselves. So great job, guys. So thank you guys very much.
makes this programming possible. I just have a quick question, and I ask this from time to time. I do hear and see you guys outside of my office. I see the robots going, or your little machines going up and down the hallway. Can you just share, like, what makes, like, PLTW classes, or maybe particularly this class, like, more engaging or unique from maybe some of your other hands-on courses?
So from my perspective, what I think it makes it kind of different, what stands out from it, is it's not just so you do this, then you do this, and you do this. It's, you learn from it, there's difficulties, and we kind of just got to figure it out on our way. But we can't really go to Mr. Benson. He always just says, try and figure it out on your own.
They're smarter than I am, so
It's really bad because you can learn to solve problems without having to say, go to like your AI or your phone and say, how do I do this? You learn problem solving, you learn to deal with it, and you really get a lot of, I don't know, knowledge from the class within mechanical science, learning to code, and just all around problem solving.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So if you don't mind, we'll get a picture. Mr. Benson, can you come on up here? Great job. Okay, great.
You guys, before you like.
How long did it take?
And then this project,
that's fun.
That's amazing. I was so impressed.
It's all good. I got exactly what I need. Thank you so much. Guys, that's fantastic.
Amazing work.
Good work, Emma. And ladies.
Yeah. No, thank you. You're very good public speaker, all of you. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Benson,
you're welcome.
do you want us to take them back to the room?
Great.
Do you want us to take them back?
Yep, you guys are all set. Good work, Logan.
Parents who are in the audience, too, must be very proud, very thank you. And for all you do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All of them.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our next recognition, and that's our OP heroes. And to recognize Officer Wrestler, Mrs. Shaka, Mrs. Carter, and Mrs. Couture. I do know, unfortunately, some of our guests here, our heroes, could not make it this evening, so I'm sorry about that. We'll definitely be following up with them. We have a couple things that we'd like to pass along. But I just wanted to read a little bit of recognition. On behalf of our district, I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude as we recognize the Orchard primary heroes from the fire incident on March 23rd. During a moment of uncertainty, the swift, calm, and courageous actions of our staff ensured the safety and well-being of every student staff member in the building. This evening, we would like to give special recognition to Officer Michael Retzler, our school resource officer, Shannon Shaka, she is in the audience, our PE teacher, Patty Carter, our latitude aide, and Christina Couture, our assistant secretary, for their leadership and decisive response. It's because of these individuals that the Orchard Primary Building was saved from devastating destruction. Their professionalism and dedication reflect the very best of what it means to serve and protect the school community. We'd also like to extend an additional recognition to Officer Retzler for the deeply protective presence he brings to our school each and every day, consistently going above and beyond expectations to ensure the safety of our students and staff. His diligence and commitment to safeguarding our school community set a standard of care and dedication that does not go unnoticed. Although he had a family obligation this evening, I'd also like to extend another thank you shout out to Principal Adam Bruno for his leadership, always guiding in a way that provides comfort, confidence, and safety to everyone at Orchard Primary. We also extend our sincere thanks to the Almont Fire Department. Thank you, Chief, for being here in the audience today for their rapid response, expertise, and support in managing the situation safely and effectively. The Almont Fire Department would have been proud of how our students and staff carried out the evacuation, demonstrating the same calm, orderly response and practice throughout the year, like 8 times. So we did well. To our Orchard Primary staff, students, and families, thank you for your cooperation, resilience, and support as we work through the emergency together. Finally, we're also grateful to the Almont Middle School for opening their doors and providing a safe and welcoming space for our students and staff during the evacuation. And I would like to call our heroes, the ones who are here present tonight, up on the board to shake our board hand and like to present you with a certificate and a little token of our appreciation. So Mrs. Carter and Mrs. Jacob, you'll come up. Give a round of applause. Grab that, I know, grab that there, and I'm gonna give you a certificate. Yeah, I know, if I can. Then pictures and hugs and handshakes later. Can I get a picture of all of you?
Yes,
Thank you.
it was hard. Gave all that training, it was everybody involved with the whole school.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Oh, can I move you guys into the middle? And this, just you want to scoot over to see, so I can see how it will work. Excellent.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Probably training. Great. Good work. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, this will bring us to our first questions and comments pertaining to the agenda. Would anybody in the audience like to be recognized for anything pertaining to the agenda? Come on up, you'll have 3 minutes. Please state your first and last name.
Sure. Kevin Kowalik, parent of students that go or are in the school district. The first comment is based on the presentation tonight with Mr. Benison and the kids. I'm actually able to come here tonight in a non-official capacity, which is nice. I'm here as a parent and as a member of the community, and I was able to see what they were going to do kind of prior to this while I was walking the hallways at school during work, and I can't thank the board enough, the district, and anybody else that was involved in this. Myself and my wife, we actually did AutoCAD design and stuff when we were in school. And I guess, you don't really know what your kids are doing on a day-to-day basis and how much their involvement is until you see this. And we were never sure if our oldest or our youngest would ever kind of have that interest like me and my wife did before both of us got into public service. But it's kind of neat to see. And I thank everybody both on the board, the school district, and obviously the teaching staff that is able to provide these types of opportunities for students. The second portion would be on the OP Heroes, working directly with Officer Retzler on a daily basis and a lot of the staff. It's nice to see how planning comes to fruition in a certain type of emergency situation. So again, as a parent, I would like to thank the district, school board, and everybody else involved, including my colleague that I work with in an official capacity, for taking the right steps to prepare for things like this, along with our fire department as well. And let's see, as far as student council, really don't have anything on that. But what I would say is, again, if this is a testament to how good this district is, there are 2 students that sat behind me that I get to see on a fairly regular basis at school and everything like that. And it's kind of nice to see how this district operates. So again, I would like to pay a compliment to the district and everybody involved, because we've got these types of relationships that we establish both in a professional capacity and just in passing, where, I wouldn't have thought that I would have saw Ms. Cheka, who we see in the mornings at the OP while I'm at work, or the students that go to school with my daughter, and we get to see them in school doing well themselves. So thank you for your time.
Would anybody else in the audience like to be recognized?
say something, and I'm pretty loud, so I probably don't need to. It is, as Kevin echoed, it is fantastic to watch it work correctly. We spend a lot of time in the schools with the kids, and I know that Mike and Kevin spent time with the staff, and it worked well. So thank you for pushing it. I know you're all behind safety in our schools, and it shows. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Would anybody else in the audience like to be recognized? Any questions or comments pertaining to the agenda from the Board of Education?
I just want to thank the students, Mr. Benford and Mr. Benford for coming out. Those presentations are great. It's just cool memory to see what they're doing all year long. Learning that they only spent maybe one day planning it and then they started building it right away. It's pretty impressive with no direction. So that was pretty cool.
Consent agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burrow.
I move Board of Education approve the consent agenda. A, approval of the minutes from the March 23rd, 2026 regular meeting. B, approval of the minutes of the April 21st, 2026 special meeting. C, approval of the minutes from the April 21st, 2026 work session.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. This will bring us to approval of bills payable and financial report.
Mrs. Smith,
Mr. Burr.
I move the Board of Education approve the bills payable and the financial reports as proposed by administration and reviewed by the Finance Committee as follows. These are for the 3/24/2026 through 4/27/2026 disbursements. General fund total $432,033.42. School lunch fund $72,979.96. Student activity fund $23,652.84. 2014 sinking fund $0. Subtotal $528,666.22. ACH wire transactions 3/24/2026 through 4/27/2026, $1,087,298.55. EduStaff, $16,224.18. Health Equity HSA, $38,929.40. Credit card BMO, $10,838.82. Health insurance, $134,564.86. Total funds spent, $1,816,522.03. Check numbers is written.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Please make sure that you acknowledge your primary, middle school, high school, and athletic student activity accomplishments. This will bring us to new business with our superintendent's report.
Start with principal reports. So the Orchard Primary for Mr. Bruno. First, want to shout out again to staff and students for the remarkable job of getting out of the building safely in an organized manner during the fire the week before spring break. Our teachers are wrapping up the final round of visits to neighboring districts to learn more about the CKLA curriculum. It's been a great experience for all the staff. The kindergarten roundup was April 22nd and 23rd. It's a wonderful start to start meeting some of the newest graders. It's also testing season. Our third graders are starting their first ever M-STEP. All of our students will be taking the NWA and DRA tests in the coming days as well, and we're excited to see how much they've grown. Our first and second graders had their spring concert on April 15th. Thank you to Mrs. Royster, Mr. McAllister, and all of our students for doing a wonderful job on the program. From Principal Lewis at the middle school, step assessments are in progress with students showing strong focus and determination throughout the testing process. Our ELA leadership team is actively developing a literacy framework, moving through our implementation plan to support the rollout of the new Amplified CKLA curriculum. Students are enjoying both new and returning after-school clubs, including Lego Robotics, Theater Club, and Soccer Club. We'd like to extend our appreciation to Mr. Nick Rand, Ms. White, and Mr. Hartshorn for providing these valuable enrichment opportunities for our students. AMS proudly recognized Autism Acceptance Week, promoting awareness, inclusion, and understanding across our school community. Students are participating in a variety of engaging field trips, including 4th grade Michigan Science Center and Camp Skyline, 6th grade Camp Leal, and 7th grade Urban Air. Our Step It Up night for incoming 4th grade families will be held on Tuesday, May 19th at 6 p.m. in the AMS cafeteria. Per Principal Spear from the high school, at the high school, he likes to play on words. So we're all jazzed up here to hear our musical achievements. In March, our saxophone quartet competed at Michigan School Band and Orchestra, earning as an ensemble a first division superior rating. So congratulations to the saxophone quartet. That's Max Alfred, Elizabeth Wetzel, Vincent Catanacci, and Derek Wetzel. Also, at the high school, again, talking about testing, statewide testing began when we returned from spring break, and it's gone off without a hitch. We're very grateful to Ms. Dreisbeard for her coordination and efforts, from training our staff to conducting logistics for the entire testing process. Ms. Dreisbeard has been just a true asset to our district. At Almont High School, we swim with the current and roll, and the currents in the roll with the flow. On April 11th, Ms. Lovett organized a fundraiser for our amazing senior Ben Schurig, who along with his team will be competing in the Special Olympics State Championship. We're grateful for Mr. Paul at the Hideaway Lanes for his continued support of our district and his willingness to open the business to our students and address our needs. Just a couple upcoming events noted. Of course, right behind us, I think we have a stage set up here for Wizard of Oz coming. That'll be Friday, May 1st. At 6 o'clock. If you're interested in attending that play, the tickets are going to be on sale online. Adult tickets are $12. Student tickets are $10. You can buy them at the tickets online or at the door. Also, there are shows on Saturday, May 2nd at 12 o'clock, and then again at 5 p.m. And then we have a Sunday show May 3rd at noon. We also on the same day have, on Friday on May 1st, we have the art show. So annually that's coupled together at the start of the spring play. So May 1st, art show here at the high school from 2:30 to 8 p.m. And I really encourage you to check that out. It's just incredible what our art teachers are able to, facilitate and have our young artists, what they come up with is just amazing. So please take some time to see that, and it goes across all grade levels. So thank you to the art teachers out there. Superintendent's report, just a few things. Last week, we had the opportunity to celebrate Administrative Assistant Secretary's Day, and I want to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation for the incredible individuals who serve in these roles across our district. Our administrative assistants are often the first point of contact for students, families, and visitors, and they consistently represent our schools with professionalism, kindness, and efficiency. I do want to do a shout out then to our admin assistants. That includes Jill Kozlowski to my right, my assistant, Susan Brown, Jesse Geiger, Laura Livermore, Debbie Lemon, house here at the high school, Sherry Taylor, Melissa Machiniak at middle school, Jackie Niedermeyer, and Christina Couture at the Orchard Primary. So thank you to them. I would also like to echo Mr. Spears' compliment regarding Mrs. Alice Dreisbeard, our district testing coordinator, for all of her attention to detail, guidance, and leadership throughout the administration of our required state standardized assessments. It's a lot of work, but we definitely appreciate her role and everything she does to make sure that the testing goes without a hitch for our district. I also encourage, my last point of note here, I encourage everyone to attend the Almont Township Special Board meetings tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., where the Almont police contract will be discussed. Well, I did speak with 2 Almont Township board members this past Friday to ensure our SRO is secured for the next year. I have since heard that Officer Wexler may or may not be assigned to our district. This uncertainty is concerning, and I believe it's important for our community to stay informed and engaged on this matter. So if you're available, there is a special meeting at the Almont Township at 9 o'clock a.m. So thank you.
Thank you. you, Mrs. Buckmeyer. That will bring us to finance.
Special election, non-consent proposition. The Board of Education must submit to the Lapeer County Clerk any ballot proposal it wishes to present to voters. The attached resolution outlines the proposition language as it will appear on the ballot. This ballot request will be sent to the Lapeer County Clerk to be placed on the August 4th, 2026 primary. The passage of a non-homestead operating ensures continued funding for essential school operations by maintaining the tax revenue generated from commercial and non-primary residential properties. Recommended by committee 2-0.
Mrs. Smith.
Mr. Byrd.
I move the Board of Education approve the proposition to be voted on at the August 4th, 2026 special election.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
Whereas this board, number one, this board intends to submit a proposition at a special election to be held on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. Two, on or before 4 p.m. on Tuesday, May 12th, 2026, the board shall certify any ballot proposition to be submitted to the voters at such an election, the election coordinator or coordinators designed to conduct elections within the district, the election coordinator. Now therefore be it resolved that one, a special election of the school electors of the district be called and held on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. Two, the proposition to be voted on at the special election shall be stated on the ballots in substantially the form as set forth in Exhibit A, the superintendent of schools authorized to adjust the language of Exhibits A and B upon consultation with election council to the extent necessary to, one, seek the restoration of millage lost in 2026 as a result of the Michigan Constitution of 1963 in order to achieve the total millage stated in Exhibits A and B if permitted by law, or two, seek the renewal of the district's millage at the 2026 millage rate as reduced by the Michigan Constitution of 1963. Three, the election coordinator is requested to A, utilize privacy time in the newspaper published or of general circulation within the district for publication of notices in accordance with the election law requirements. B, utilize ballot proposition summary information as prepared by legal counsel in the forms of the notices of the last day of registration and election substantially the form as set forth in Exhibit B attached here to. C, provide a proof copy of the ballot to the district and its legal counsel in sufficient time to allow the ballot to be proofread prior to printing. 4, the secretary of this board is hereby authorized and directed to file a copy of this resolution with the election coordinator and with any election clerk or clerks designated to conduct elections within the district by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, May 12, 2026. 5, all resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution are hereby rescinded. Please do roll call. Ms. Ainley? Mr. Burns?
Aye.
Mr. Burrow? Aye. Mr. Eckert?
Aye.
Ms. Rotarius?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
It passes.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd.
Moving on to non-rep contracts. The Board of Education approves the employment contracts of all personnel. We have many staff members that are not part of any collective bargaining agreements and thus have individual contracts with the Board of Education for duties to which they are assigned. And the recommended compensation package has been discussed with the Board of Finance Committee. Recommended by committee to
Mrs. Smith.
Mr. Byrd.
I move the Board of Education approve the non-rep contracts as outlined in the supporting document in the shared Google Drive.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Moving on to the approval of 27 allocation. The Board of Education approves personnel expenditures. The Board of Education must approve the acceptance of the Section 27L Educators Compensation Grant as allocated in the 2025-2026 State School Aid Act and authorize the superintendent and district administration to take all necessary steps for the distribution of these funds to eligible educators, including the execution of any required letters of agreement with the district's collective bargaining units. Recommended by committee 2-0.
Mrs. Smith.
Mr. Burns.
I move the Board of Education approve the 27L Educator Compensation Program as outlined.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That will bring us to policy.
Starting with resignation and retirement. The Board of Education may agree to a resignation or retirement at any time after replacement, if necessary, suitable to the school administration and the board has obtained, provided that the circumstances underlying the resignation or retirement are valid in the opinion of the board and warrant a search for a replacement. Debbie Lemon has announced she will retire from her role as the secretary to the athletic director and dean of students effective June 30th, 2026. Loretta Lawrence has announced she will retire from her role as paraeducator at Orchard Primary at the end of May. Recommended by committee 2-0.
Mrs. Smith.
Mr. Eckert.
I move the Board of Education accept the retirements of Debbie Levin and Loretta Lawrence. The Board of Education thanks them for their service and wishes them well in the future.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? I would like to extend a big thank you to Mrs. Lemon. I know she plays a very important role to a lot of high school students and staff there. Thank you very much for her. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And to new hires, the Board of Education approves all personnel. Mr. Bruno is pleased to recommend Savannah West for the role of recess aide at Orchard Primary. Gex Fires, athletic event assistant, varsity sideline and competitive cheer coach, and varsity wrestling coach. Recommended by committee 2-0.
Mrs. Smith.
Mr. Eckert.
I move the Board of Education approve the hiring of Savannah West and GECS employees and welcome them to the district.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Under board term change. The board adopts bylaws and policies for organization and operation of the board and district. Bylaws and policies may be adopted, amended, and repealed at any meeting of the board, provided the proposed adoption, amendment, or repeal shall have been proposed at a previous board meeting, and once proposed, shall remain on the agenda of each succeeding board meeting until approved or rejected. Bylaw 0131.1. The Board of Education is proposing to amend its bylaws to transition from 6-year to 4-year terms, as outlined in the attached resolution. This is the second reading.
Mrs. Smith.
Mr. Eckert.
I move the Board of Education approve the revision of policy 0142.3, changing the term limits to 4 years.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
Like to read the statement. Whereas, 1, Public Act 233 of 2011 amended Michigan election law to require school board elections to be held in November of even numbered years, and 2, Section 11A of the revised school code as amended provides that members of the board shall be elected by the school electors for terms of 4 or 6 years as provided by the district's bylaws. And 3, this board desires to amend its bylaws to change board member terms of office from 6 years to 4 years and to approve a board member rotation schedule to implement 4-year terms. Now therefore be it resolved that 1, this board hereby determines that the term of office for board seat shall be 4 years, notwithstanding the foregoing, as an interim transition measure to accomplish the desired board election rotation of the 3 board seats whose term begins on January 1st, 2027, and that will be filled at the November 3rd, 2026 election. 1 shall be for a term of 6 years, and the other 2 shall be for terms of 4 years. Thereafter, the term office for all board seats will be for 4 years. Such determination and board rotation schedule are hereby adopted as amendments to the board's bylaws. 2, this resolution does not impact elections to fill partial terms of board seats whose full term has not yet expired. 3, a copy of this resolution shall be filed with the district election board. 4, all resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution are hereby rescinded. Smith.
Mr. Burns.
I'd like to do a roll call vote. Mr. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Eckert,
Aye.
Ms. Rotarius,
Aye.
Ms. Angley, Mr. Burrow, and Ms. Smith.
Aye.
We have all 6 members present.
Thank you.
The Board of Education may accept non-resident students into our schools via 105, 105C guidelines as outlined in the Pupil Accounting Manual provided by the State of Michigan. Superintendent has recommended open seats for the outline and information provided. Should there be more applicants, then space is open for the limited grades. Lottery will take place the day after school choice closes, and any students not placed will be on a waiting list. Priority will be given to students that currently have siblings attending Almont School and those students who have attended Almont Preschool in 2025-2026. Recommended by committee 2-0.
Mrs. Smith,
Mr. Rucker.
I move the Board of Education will have limited school of choice openings for grades K through 5 and open enrollment for grades 6 through 12 for the 2026-2027 school year under 105, 105C.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
Mrs.
Mr. Burrows.
I would just like to make a comment, just the board keeps it in their foresight is that, judging by the enrollment numbers we have currently, this is going to, the school choice is not having us exceed 100 per class. So, and since the Almont community is not having as many kids as it used to, it's likely that our enrollment numbers are going to continue to drop, and as the years kind of fall off, we're going to be quite a bit over.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The bullying policy revision. The board adopts bylaws and policies for organization and operation of the board and district. Bylaws and policies may be adopted, amended, and repealed at any meeting of the board, provided the proposed adoption, amendment, or repeal shall have been proposed at a previous board meeting and once proposed shall have remained on the agenda of each succeeding board meeting until approved or rejected by law 0131.1. The superintendent policy committee have provided the following additional recommendation. This is the second reading for the policy 55.7.01. Recommended by committee 2-0.
Mrs. Smith,
Mr. Rucker.
I move the Board of Education approve the update to policy 5517.01.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
On to the parent-student handbooks. The Board of Education approves the student handbooks at each school. The policies and procedures contained in the handbook serve as a guide for our students. By approving changes to the handbooks, the changes become a part of district policy. Any changes to the handbooks are noted in the attached documents. Staff changes within each building will be updated as needed. Handbooks and changes were also updated to the Google Drive for the board's review. Recommended by committee 2-0.
Mrs. Smith, I move the Board of Education approve the Orchard Primary Handbook and any recommended changes, the Middle School Handbook with no changes, the High School Handbook with no changes.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Mr. Burrows.
I'd just like to compliment the staff and policy for being on top of these handbooks. Now, I know that in the past they kind of got back on certain things, and these are everything. So thank you everybody for doing it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Strategic planning. The board approves the goals of the district. Various stakeholders have met over the past few months and agreed on a strategic plan for the district. The attached plan for the district will dramatically improve the school system. This plan is the culmination of various meetings by stakeholders and reflects a strong desire to move the district forward over the next 5 years. And then, as seen below, as stated, there's a goal statement and one priority objective that was going to be added, and that's forming a community facilities committee to ensure stakeholder input that continues, recommended by committee to serve.
Mrs. Smith,
Mr. Rucker.
I move the Board of Education approve the strategic plan as presented with the amended priority objective.
Motion and support. Any discussion? I would just like to thank all those members that were involved with that. Day. A lot of work that went into it. I know year-end, year, and motivation.
This is Smith.
Yeah.
I'd just like to thank Scott Morrell from MASB for kind of helping guide us through the whole process. Made it easy.
Great. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And now bring up the curriculum.
Summer school program, policy Q440 states in part, the board shall annually approve a summer school program. With funding from the 31A grant, Almont Community Schools is able to offer summer school to grades K through 8 this summer. The summer school program will run from July 6th to July 30th, 2026, recommended by committee 3-0.
Mrs. Smith?
Mrs. Rotaria?
I move the Board of Education approve the recommendation to run a summer school program using 31A grant funding.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This will bring us to our next question, our last question from the audience. You can address that in speak. Would anybody in the audience like to be recognized? Anyone from the Board of Education? No, I would just like to thank again our heroes, Officer Flosig, for all he does too. It really, really made a big difference that day with every staff. It definitely helped. Oh, thank you, everybody. Leo?
I would just like to recognize actually our admin of administrative finance or business manager, Kathy Merrifield. Just a lot of preliminary budget work being done right now. It's a lot of work, a lot of meetings, just making sure that there's a solid process moving forward. And she's made a significant amount of improvement for following a process. I think that will help in future years. So a huge thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Merrifield. Thank you. I'll make sure that's noted. Thank you.
Future agenda item.
Mrs. Smith.
Mr. Burrow.
I move the board end the regular board meeting on Monday, April 27th, 2026 at 7:20 p.m.
Or